Welcome to Creepy, the best horror storyteller on YouTube.
Part 1. The Whispers in the Darkness.
In the quaint, sleepy town of Ashwood, nestled amidst the dense, sprawling woods of New England, life had always been a tranquil, monotonous affair. The townsfolk, a tight-knit community, found solace in the familiar rhythm of their days, their lives untouched by the chaos and clamor of the outside world. However, beneath the veneer of serenity, a lurking darkness, a chilling secret, was about to unravel, casting its shadow upon the unsuspecting town. It began with whispers, faint murmurs carried on the wind, tales exchanged in hushed tones, dismissed as mere superstitions and idle gossip. The whispers spoke of a figure, a shadowy apparition, a man shrouded in a long, hooded cloak, his face hidden from sight. Some claimed to have seen him lurking in the woods, his presence casting an unsettling chill, his eyes glowing with an eerie, otherworldly light. Others swore to have heard his voice, a deep, raspy whisper that seemed to emanate from the very depths of the forest, sending shivers down their spines. At first, the townsfolk dismissed these tales as the ramblings of overactive imaginations, mere products of the town's eerie folklore. But as the whispers grew louder, more persistent, and the sightings became more frequent, a sense of unease began to permeate the town. The once familiar streets felt less safe, the shadows seemed deeper, and the silence of the night was now punctuated by an unsettling tension. The children, with their vivid imaginations and heightened sensitivity to the supernatural, were the first to feel the presence of the hooded man. They would return from their escapades in the woods, their faces pale, their eyes wide with terror, whispering of a dark figure that followed them, his laughter echoing through the trees, leaving an icy dread in their hearts. The adults, initially skeptical, were soon forced to confront the growing evidence. Reports of strange occurrences, of objects inexplicably moving, of whispers heard in the dead of night, became commonplace. The town's beloved pets began to vanish without a trace, their owners left heartbroken and bewildered. And the once vibrant forest, once a source of joy and solace, now hung heavy with an oppressive silence, its depths shrouded in an unsettling mystery. As fear gripped the town, a sense of isolation and paranoia began to take hold. The townsfolk, once so close-knit, started to look at each other with suspicion, wondering if the hooded man lurked among them, disguised as one of their own. The once peaceful community was slowly unraveling, its foundations crumbling under the weight of an unseen terror. In the midst of this growing panic, a young woman named Sarah, known for her unwavering courage and unwavering spirit, decided to take a stand undeterred by the fear that had paralyzed her fellow townsfolk. Sarah vowed to uncover the truth behind the hooded man, to confront the darkness that had descended upon Ashwood. With a determination burning in her eyes, she embarked on a perilous journey into the heart of the woods, determined to unravel the enigma of the hooded man, regardless of the danger that awaited her.
Part 2. Into the Depths of Darkness.
Sarah's journey into the heart of the woods was a daunting one. The once familiar paths, once teeming with life and laughter, now lay eerily silent, the forest silence broken only by the rustling of leaves beneath her feet. The shadows seemed to grow longer, denser, as if the very trees conspired to conceal the secrets hidden within their depths. Undeterred, Sarah pressed on, her determination fueled by a growing sense of urgency. The whispers that had haunted the town echoed in her mind, their chilling words urging her forward. She felt a strange connection to the hooded man, an inexplicable pull towards the enigmatic figure that had cast such a shadow over Ashwood. As she ventured deeper into the woods, the air grew colder, heavier, and the silence was broken by an unsettling symphony of sounds, the hooting of owls, the rustling of small creatures, the creaking of ancient branches. The forest seemed to come alive, its hidden inhabitants watching her every move, their eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. Suddenly, a thick fog descended, enveloping Sarah in a suffocating shroud. The world around her dissolved into a swirling mass of gray, obscuring her vision and disorienting her senses. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, their voices echoing all around her, taunting her, trying to lead her astray. Sarah stumbled through the fog, her heart pounding in her chest, her mind struggling to maintain its grip on reality. The whispers seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, their words swirling around her like a haunting melody. She could hear them mocking her, laughing at her fear, urging her to give up, to turn back. But Sarah refused to succumb to the fear that threatened to consume her. She pushed forward, her determination unwavering, her courage fueled by the memory of the terrified faces of her fellow townsfolk, the lost pets, the shattered sense of security that had once been the essence of Ashwood. As if guided by an unseen force, Sarah stumbled upon an ancient, gnarled tree, its branches reaching out like skeletal arms, its trunk covered in strange symbols that seemed to glow with an eerie light. The whispers seemed to intensify around the tree, their voices urging her closer, their words promising answers to the mystery that had haunted her town. Sarah approached the tree, her hand trembling as she reached out to touch its rough bark. A surge of energy coursed through her veins, sending shivers down her spine. The whispers seemed to merge into a single voice, a voice that echoed with ancient wisdom and haunting sorrow. The voice spoke of the hooded man, a creature of darkness and despair, a being bound to the forest, forever trapped within its depths. It spoke of his power to manipulate shadows, to control the minds of those who ventured too deep into his domain. It spoke of the sacrifices he demanded, the innocent lives he claimed to maintain his power. Sarah listened in stunned silence, her mind reeling from the revelations. The whispers that had once terrified her now held a new meaning, a message from the very entity she had been searching for. She realized that the hooded man was not just a figment of the town's imagination, but a real and malevolent force, a danger that threatened to consume Ashwood entirely. With a newfound determination, Sarah resolved to confront the hooded man, to challenge his power, to free Ashwood from his dark grip. She knew that the task was perilous, that the risk of failure was high. But she also knew that she could not stand by and watch as her beloved town succumbed to fear and despair. With a deep breath, Sarah stepped into the heart of the darkness, ready to face the hooded man, ready to unravel the mystery that had plagued her town, ready to confront the terror that lurked within the depths of the forest.
Part 3. The Confrontation.
As Sarah ventured deeper into the heart of the woods, the darkness grew more oppressive, the silence more deafening. The whispers that had once guided her now seemed to mock her, their voices echoing through the shadows, taunting her with promises of pain and despair. Sarah pressed on, her determination fueled by a growing sense of urgency. The hooded man's presence was palpable, his malevolent energy swirling around her like a suffocating shroud. She could feel his eyes upon her, watching her every move, waiting for her to stumble, to fall prey to his fearsome power. Suddenly, the forest around her transformed. The gnarled trees twisted into grotesque shapes, their branches reaching out like skeletal arms, their leaves morphing into shadowy figures that danced around her. The ground beneath her feet turned into a swirling vortex of darkness, threatening to pull her into its depths. Sarah stumbled and fell, her hands clutching at the damp earth, her breath catching in her throat. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, their voices filling her mind with images of terror and despair. She could feel the hooded man's presence closing in, his icy breath brushing against her skin, his laughter echoing through the darkness. But Sarah refused to give in to fear. She drew strength from the memory of her terrified fellow townsfolk, the lost pets, the shattered sense of security that had once been the essence of Ashwood. She remembered the voice from the ancient tree, the voice that had revealed the hooded man's secrets, the voice that had urged her to fight back. With renewed determination, Sarah rose to her feet, her eyes blazing with defiance. She faced the darkness, her voice echoing through the forest, calling out to the hooded man. "I know you are here," she cried, her voice trembling but firm. "I know your secrets. I know the pain you have caused. And I will not let you terrorize my town any longer." The whispers fell silent, replaced by an eerie stillness that hung heavy in the air. The shadows seemed to writhe and contort, as if the hooded man himself was struggling to maintain his grip on the forest. Then, from the depths of the darkness, a figure emerged, shrouded in a long, hooded cloak. His face was hidden from sight, but his eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, piercing through the gloom, casting an icy chill upon Sarah's soul. You dare challenge me? The hooded man's voice hissed, deep and raspy, like the rustling of dead leaves. You, a mere mortal, dare to defy my power? Sarah stood her ground, her voice unwavering despite the fear that gripped her heart. I will not let you hurt my town, she declared. I will not let you consume Ashwood with your darkness. The hooded man let out a haunting laugh, the sound echoing through the trees like the tolling of a death knell. Your town is already mine, he hissed. The darkness has taken root, and there is no escape. Sarah's eyes blazed with defiance. I will not give up hope, she retorted. I will find a way to defeat you. I will free Ashwood from your evil. With a wave of his hand, the hooded man unleashed a torrent of darkness, a swirling vortex that threatened to engulf Sarah entirely. She closed her eyes, her mind racing, desperately searching for a way to counter his power. Suddenly, a surge of energy coursed through her veins, a warmth that seemed to emanate from within her very soul. She opened her eyes, and a blinding light erupted from her hands, piercing through the darkness, dispelling the shadows that had surrounded her. The hooded man recoiled in shock, his eyes wide with terror. The darkness that had once been his weapon now seemed to burn him, its tendrils retreating from his touch as if afraid of the radiant light that emanated from Sarah. With a triumphant cry, Sarah unleashed the full force of her light, banishing the darkness that had plagued her town for so long. The forest around her transformed, the gnarled trees returning to their natural form, the shadowy figures dissolving into nothingness. The hooded man let out a final, anguished cry before vanishing into thin air, his presence forever banished from the forest. The whispers fell silent, replaced by the gentle sounds of the night, the rustling of leaves, the hooting of owls. Sarah stood amidst the ruins of the forest, her heart pounding, her body trembling. She had faced her fears, confronted the darkness, and emerged victorious. She had saved Ashwood from the clutches of the hooded man, restoring peace and serenity to her beloved town.
Part 4. The Aftermath.
As the first rays of dawn pierced the darkness, casting a warm glow over the forest, Sarah emerged from the woods, her face etched with exhaustion but her spirit soaring with victory. She had faced her fears, confronted the hooded man, and emerged victorious, banishing the darkness that had plagued Ashwood for so long. The journey back to the town was a blur, her mind numb with relief yet buzzing with the adrenaline of her encounter. She could still feel the lingering warmth of the light that had erupted from her hands, the power that had allowed her to vanquish the hooded man. As she approached the town, she noticed a change in the air. The oppressive silence that had shrouded Ashwood for so long had lifted, replaced by the familiar sounds of life, the chirping of birds, the laughter of children playing, the distant hum of activity. The townsfolk, their faces etched with worry and exhaustion, greeted her with open arms, their eyes wide with relief and gratitude. They had heard her call for help, had felt the darkness recede, and knew that their savior had returned. Sarah recounted her ordeal, her voice trembling as she described the horror she had witnessed, the power she had discovered within herself. The townsfolk listened in rapt attention, their faces filled with awe and admiration. In the days that followed, Ashwood began to heal. The fear that had paralyzed the town gradually faded, replaced by a newfound sense of unity and resilience. The children, no longer afraid of the shadows, ventured back into the woods, their laughter echoing through the trees. The pets that had mysteriously vanished began to reappear, their owners overjoyed to have their beloved companions back home. Sarah became a symbol of hope and courage, her name whispered with reverence among the townsfolk. She had saved their town from an unspeakable evil, and they would never forget her sacrifice. But Sarah knew that her task was not over. The hooded man might have been banished, but the darkness that had fueled his power still lingered, lurking in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to rise again. She vowed to remain vigilant, to protect Ashwood from any threat that dared to threaten its peace. She would continue to harness the power within her, the light that had banished the darkness, and use it to safeguard her beloved town. And so, Ashwood began to rebuild, its spirit unbroken, its people united in their determination to never again succumb to the shadows. And at the heart of it all stood Sarah, the embodiment of courage and hope, a beacon of light in the face of darkness.
Part 5. The Legacy of Light.
Years passed, and Ashwood flourished, its tranquility undisturbed by the darkness that had once threatened to consume it. The memory of the hooded man faded into a distant nightmare, a relic of the town's troubled past. Sarah, now a woman of unwavering strength and wisdom, had become an integral part of Ashwood's identity, her legacy etched in the hearts of its people. She had become a teacher, guiding the younger generations with her knowledge and compassion, instilling in them the values of courage, resilience, and the enduring power of hope. The forest, once a source of fear and dread, had become a place of solace and recreation. The children, no longer afraid of the shadows, played freely among the trees, their laughter filling the air with joy. The townsfolk ventured into the woods with newfound appreciation for its beauty and serenity. But Sarah never forgot the darkness that lurked beneath the surface, the unseen forces that could threaten to disrupt the town's newfound peace. She continued to train, honing her connection to the light within her, ensuring that she would be ready to confront any challenge that dared to arise. And so, Ashwood thrived, its spirit forever illuminated by the legacy of a woman who had faced her fears, embraced her powers, and banished the darkness from her beloved town. Sarah's name became a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the face of the darkest shadows, the power of light and courage can always prevail.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more similar horror stories.